Woo!
Wow.
In America, what is it like to be black in America?
Man, what does it mean to be black in America?
Well, what does it mean to be black in America?
Well, for me, to be black in America means to be the shit. We're awesome. We're powerful. People see us as being superior, but they always put us down as being inferior. To be black is wonderful. To be black in America also is to be afraid. You can walk out your door, you can be profiled, you can never make it back. Doing the slightest thing will get you killed being black in America. So not only are we a superior race, but we're also being hunted like animals. They don't see us as being human. We're monkeys to them. But I just want everybody to know that being black is fucking awesome. And don't let anybody ever tell you anything different. Being black is fucking wonderful. You take that, you do what you need to do, and you strive on. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't be excellent, because you can. We already are. We're powerful. We're strong as hell. Take that and strive with it. Do what you gotta do.
It's always like, doubting yourself and like, to think that, do you really belong here? Do you speak out about certain things if you feel like something's wrong? Because if you speak out, maybe they might think that you're being dramatic or that you don't really have a valid reason. It's always almost like living in fear of what you really think and what you really want to do. But, my motto is always try to be 2.5 times better than the next person, because, the same opportunities they have, I know I can get those same opportunities too. I might just have to work a little bit harder.
I think to be black, it means that you have to be careful, you have to be cautious of the moves you make in order to succeed, because there are so many obstacles set in place for us to make it harder to achieve like basic things, or what would seem to be basic things. So it means you have to be strategic and careful and cautious.
It's like living like the ultimate conundrum, to know that you are so powerful and so beautiful, and that your skin, that like the sun gives us life, like just to know that, but to be so hated by people that we don't really think twice about. It's really hard. So you just try to go about life, take care of your family, loving on your friends, giving love, taking love, dealing with your own issues. And now we got everybody else's issues piled on us as well. But luckily for us, this ain't nothing we ain't done before. So we gonna be okay, but it's a whole bunch of shit on my shoulders that don't belong to me. You feel me? I didn't put that shit there, but I'm holding it like that. I'm holding it like that.
Somebody could just judge me based on how I look or who's by me. I should be held to the same standards as anybody else. I shouldn't be looked at as ghetto, or if I'm walking with my friends and we're like laughing or something, they shouldn't be like, they shouldn't have to sidestep me or anything, or feel so much hate towards me just for the way that I look, how I am, or what they see, because everybody's different and we should all just be equal, honestly.
To me, what it means to be black in America is to understand the roots of how we got here, issues of systemic oppression that have been, are literally within our bodies and that have been here for over 400 years. But turning that oppression and those struggles that we've been through for so long into beauty through our art, through music, through just the culture and just the swag that comes with being black. That's what it is.
Being black in America today is to remember you are empowered. We're all black kings and queens, trying to prosper. That's an important message.
Being black in America, being black is the best thing that could have ever happened to anybody. If you're not black, you're not a culture creator. Like, we start trends, people follow what we do, like we literally are culture creators. Being black in America is another story. It's a constant fight. It's waking up every day and hoping that you can drive home without being pulled over for driving while black. It's, being angry and mourning the loss of people you don't even know just because they look like you and you can agree with them. Being black in America is not easy. I still wouldn't trade it for anything because I love being black. And if America doesn't want to treat us the way we want to be treated, then we're going to demand that they do. or things gonna keep burning. I don't know what to tell you. They better get it together, sacrifice the land, or change policies for the people.
I will say being black in America is surviving, being in America.
Well, to me, what it means to be a black man in America is, honestly, to tell you the truth, is to be a slave. For the longest time, we've been slaves, and that's literally the only thing I can think about. From the beginning, we had people who have switched around our story, have hidden our history about where we have come from and where we have grown from, where our true motherland is, and it's just not fair. Even where now we have the economy built to where it is, we have all these jobs and we feel like we're free, but at the end of the day, they still use everything that they possibly can to still push us down and oppress us for no apparent reason. Me, even being a black man who lives in Buffalo, I'm 20 years old. Since I've been in the schools and everything, they have always told me that I couldn't be anything. You won't ever make it simply because you believe in this, or you grow up to be this. This is where you come from. And I say it's not true, but that's exactly what it means to be a black man in America. To sit there and literally feel every single thing that they're shooting at us. But to me, to tell you the truth, living in America while being a black is exactly what my mom always says. It's just not fair. But what makes it unfair is that we're black. It's not going to change unless we make a change. And that's it.
I think it all depends, honestly. It depends on which region, because there's so many different cultures for black people. We have our own type of etiquette here in Buffalo, New York, but if you were to go to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, things are set up differently. The laws are set up differently, and the way that there was oppression for black people was set up differently. So everybody has their own opinions. I feel like it's starting to become its own process of we are people, but we're also fighting to try to find our identity because of the fact that it was stolen. I feel like there's a lot that's taking place that I don't feel like it's getting enough recognition. There's too many conversations that are happening about things that have happened in communities that aren't being talked about. If you haven't seen what our government has done to us and seeing the actions that people have done because they're upset and because they can't have, or they don't feel like they have opportunities, then I feel like you're not really in the know. And so I feel like to embrace the culture is to understand the good and the bad, and to understand that there are good and bad people everywhere. It's just another part of advancing ourselves as who we are. To summarize, it's its own world,
To be black in America today is uncomfortable. It feels like a crime. It's very uncertain. The fact that I could wake up and get shot in my own home, my own establishment, it's unfair.
It's undescribable, really. It's a burden and a blessing, I will say. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be anything else. I would just want to be black. One of my biggest struggles as a black woman is being young, a black professional. I'm a social worker, and just seeing a lot of the things that go behind the scenes of finding a black social worker to work with black clients. I've had my supervisors and our team just be like, "You're black, you should work with this family. You would be very great with these people." And I would be going to homes on Fillmore and Genesee, and just because I'm black doesn't mean that this is a family that we will blend with. I might not have the skills to support them and counsel them in the ways that they need it. And as an individual that has counseling myself, having someone that I relate to is sometimes good and sometimes bad. Sometimes I want a different perspective. Sometimes I want someone that might have skills that I might not have. And I think being a young black professional is one of the hardest things. Just recently, I had a staff meeting, and I am over a bunch of different residential sites for my job. And one of my supervisors made a comment and a joke about rioting, and just being professional and keeping a calm face and keeping a good demeanor when this is a joke to certain people, and this is something that I have to deal with on an everyday basis. that's the hardest struggle that I feel like as being a young black woman. Explaining to them that this is something that I can go through any time of the day, and them asking, why are you upset today? Why are you hurt today? Why aren't you talking today? Why aren't you speaking to us? Why don't you want to go to this neighborhood with us? It's just something that they will never truly understand, and sometimes I feel like it's impossible to really communicate a struggle that I go through and they won't ever have to go through in their life. So that's what it's like being black to me.
Is being scared to be in your own skin, and as soon as a white person sees you, they just assume that you was a criminal. You just really die for being black. It's ridiculous. You can't even call the cops for help. At least our people can't call the cops for help. And if anything happens, I don't rely on the police. And if anything, I think I'd rather do it myself than call them. That's what I feel.
It means to be strong, resilient, misunderstood, underestimated. It means to be put down before given a chance. Man, it's so much out here that dates way back to well before you and I or that question could ever really be answered. We come from royalty, you know what I mean? And I think we somewhere along the way we lost touch. You know what I mean? And we've been brainwashed, and our history has been whitewashed. We've been pushed to the bottom as invaluable because we're the most powerful. I think that the power in us and the power in our numbers when we can come together is what the opposition may fear. Now, you can take that opposition any way you may want to take that, but if you know that you aren't opposing to who we are and what we are, then that don't apply to you. You know what I'm saying? So what it means to be black in America is that it means to be willfully strong. It means to be creative. It means to be historically powerful, culturistic, wondrous. But one thing that I do know about the color of my skin is that it is very powerful and very feared, and that's why I feel like we're in the position that we're in right now. Now, being that we come from what we come from, desperation, disparity, punishment, it's only right that we end up in the way that we end up. You know what I mean? We end up in mass incarcerated prison situations. We end up in super poor communities, and it was written that way. It was written that way to keep us at the bottom so we don't reclaim our position as kings and queens and the royalty that our historical lineage has proven that we come from. I'm also going to leave you guys with this too. I personally don't believe that we were ever slaves brought here from Africa. I think that we were slaves that were indigenous to this land, and they whitewashed that history as well to make us believe that if it wasn't for them bringing us here from Africa, that we would have never made it to this land. But do you think, and you can ponder this to yourself, but do you think that those Egyptians or historical Africans, whatever you may want to call them, Israelites or whatever, could build pyramids with the types of technologies and traps and everything that they have now, that the science that we have to this day in 2020 can't crack, but they couldn't build a boat to come to America? We was brought here on boats by colonizers? I don't believe it. I believe that we were already here.
I would say that it's history, number one. Number two, just knowing that you have to work twice as hard to get what you want in life, because it's hard for, people like us. Number three, it's also a beautiful thing, we have like a variety of different cultures, and like we have so much to bring to the table, and like we need to be appreciated more, and Black Lives Matter.
Thank you.